And so, it took a lot of introspect to get to that. Jocko Willink wrote the book Extreme Accountability.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, and basically, like, I can honestly say it was a turning point in my life and in my own personal growth when I took responsibility.
Yes.
Like, my marriage didn't work out because I chose the wrong person to be with. They were being themselves. I allowed them to be themselves to a point that I was now really binded to this person. And now we're having this ugly divorce that all could have been avoided if I would have made better decisions. So now there's two of us suffering because I made a poor decision. Now, was she a great wife? Absolutely not. But, you know, she was doing the best she could with what she had to work with.
Yeah.
So I think that that's when you can look back and say, how could I have prevented this from happening? And what decisions could I have made that were better decisions for a better outcome?
Yes, I love that. Taking responsibility. And like the way I look at things is when I'm in a conversation, like this is how my brain works. This is how my brain works. This is how my brain works. So like when someone comes up to me and they're upset or th're angry, this is how my brain works, is I picture them from like birth, all these situations they've gone through, and it comes to me. It's like, boom, now I'm having an experience with you. And I need to tell you something. And I'm literally like, wow, I want to learn all those experiences that they went through because it's pretty cool to see why did I make them so angry. And it's like, but all I was is just the expression of what they've been through, right? And it's like, I've been hurt before and you represent that. You actually feel like that. And that's, you know, I don't mean to come at you, I don't mean to hurt you, but I'm just trying to express to you that I'm broken. There's something inside of me. And when you listen to that person, you're like, wow, you've been through so many amazing experiences. And at first they want a reaction, right? But listening is such a powerful skill, right? And it's about being unoffendable and understanding it's not personal. You know, business is not personal. That's why we're all that. We have to be able to have really difficult conversations. It's not personal. So, awesome. Amazing stuff, man. Wow. Well, let's head home now. Let's go to sit down.
No, it's interesting. She went into a lot of different other stuff. Raven did, as far as that was a pretty lengthy video that I initially had, and it was that one gem. Because that's what affected me the most. When I saw what she said, I was like, that's it. That's it right there. I was like, that's what we literally are talking about, right? How much different stuff could she have said that may have been negative or not perceived correctly? But when we analyze ourselves and then think we're doing something, somebody else can have a completely different perspective based off of her own the feeling. She was like 3. Just the feeling. She remembered the preschool, just the feeling, just that one. And that's probably how she grew up then. She probably was like, oh yeah. And at the same time, like he said, we can be our own worst enemy. He's probably thinking this whole time, man, she knew that she sat in that diaper. You know what I'm saying? It's like we could really hold on to that, or we can hold on to that. She was like, I thought my dad was a superhero. This buff, he came through with this. That's what I thought as a kid, as pure consciousness. She was like, my dad's great, man. It's like, whoa, man, what kind of that was such a mind job for me. I was trying to dive in and analyze that. I'm like, so this whole time, no matter what was going on, I mean, if you think about it, if you dive into that time period of, John said he was running into the crack house, he trying to do this stuff. She just in the car seat. Like, everything's great. My dad's great. He came back. She's like, he came back. That trips me out, man. That trips me out because I'm like trying to dive into her and live through that, and then I'm like, okay, well now let me get in John's position. I'm like, wow. Okay, Jay was going in, and I'm sure he's thinking like, oh shit, like, but I gotta do this. Like, contrast, heavy contrast. On one end, you got this pure, just light love, like, yep, he's coming back, he's back, it's great. No expectations. Go ahead.
Whether this helps or not, but it's just an observation of here we are all trying to basically improve our subconscious abilities, you know, like really deeply change patterns of a lifetime. So, and I don't know if you've ever thought about it or if these, you know, professional psychologists have ever done it, but we have, strangely enough, millions of resources out there. And what I mean by that is we have millions of beautiful children out there. And I just thought of, you know, you interviewed Raven, you interviewed Little John. I don't know if it would ever make sense, maybe it just wouldn't work as a concept. But interview Little John. And sort of just, it's going to be beautiful. I'm serious, but sort of, and you look at him and so what? He thinks like this, and he thinks like this, and he thinks like this, and it gives you an insight, a window into what you've been saying for years. What we all say is that there is pure subconscious sitting. You live with Little John, and he's pure subconscious all the time. And I just wonder if there are resources, you know, if somebody's ever looked into that. Maybe it's a silly idea, I don't know, but just you have it right there sitting in front of you. Interview these subjects, you know, go and interview Little John. See what he comes up with. See, you know, because again, just like Raven, you interviewed a lot of interviews, but that one gem popped out. But I mean, maybe Little John could be the catalyst or something. You go, boy, there it is right there. It's out of the mouth of babes, right there.
That's why Jesus says, be like the children.
I was just about to say that. Again, you know, I don't really think, because I grab onto cartoon characters the way they live, and I adopt certain principles off of whoever created that character. The point that I really love about that, because it's so deep, it seems so basic of a concept though. Be like the kid, and like, what does that mean? What? Run around and act crazy all day, do leg things and do these weird things. It's like, that's my son, his freaking legs all up all around, he's doing all this stuff. It's like, no, it's like not that. So when you dive into thinking about, okay, what does that mean? He's like, the apostles are like, no, get those kids away, because what? They in that right side of the thinking, the analytics. They're like, no, the kids are annoying. Get those kids away from this dude. He's trying to heal people. Like, watch out. It's like he's like, no, bring them here. That's what this is. That's what this is about. They get it. They get it. Again, in the car seat. Oh, he's back. Great. Wow, what a way to live. She's okay. She's fine. What an interesting concept. Go ahead.
Yeah, just to build on that, I think the lesson learned here is that you shouldn't assume that the perception you have of yourself is the way people see you.
Sure.
And that's what you were doing, right?
Right.
So I'm a bad guy, my daughter's gonna see me as a bad guy. The reality is, we hear this work all the time. Perception is 90% reality, but it's of what the other people think. But we never stop to ask what people think of us, right? We just assume, hey, you know, if I'm a drug addict, I'm doing bad shit, I'm going to assume people think I'm a drug addict and I'm a bad guy. The reality is, in her view, you were a great guy. You were her dad and you came back. Even if you did leave her in her diaper for 24 hours, right? But the reality is, I think that's the lesson learned here, is just because you view yourself in one way, maybe it's, you know, it's not a bad thing to take a step back and listen to what other people think about you. And then I think you'll realize the real perception of you. So it's a good lesson.
Thank you. And I know that it all goes into decisive action. So when you leave here, we're going to go through the stuff, and we're going to have just so you guys know, we're going to go through a little bit left. We're going to present to our boards at your comfort level, and then we're going to do an hour. We're just talking crypto. We're going to have some fun with crypto. So we're going to make sure you guys stay engaged. What was I going into? We're talking about that, the crypto.
Perception.
Was it?
Perception?
Perception, yeah. So perception, it's like, as you leave, decisive action, that's what I was gonna say. So decisive action is so like right now when you leave, you have a lot of new information, right? And so It's just about decisive act. You're like, okay, I'm deciding, this is what I'm talking about in just a moment. I'm deciding to be this, and I'm just going to do it. And you do it, right? There's not waffling, it's not, I'm gonna go back, I'm gonna go. You just keep doing it, decisive action on a just daily basis. Daily basis, okay, maybe someone brought up the couch, right? I'm gonna get up off my couch and I'm gonna go for a walk in the park. Because when you start taking that decisive action, if you're looking for somebody, that decisive action, all of a sudden somebody walks by with a dog, hey, oh, that's a cute dog. That decisive action is going to create the resources you need. And that was the biggest thing I learned, because I was, after I woke up from suicide, I'm like, oh, okay, this is okay. Everybody's, in the world's eyes, left me. I didn't have any friends at that point, because of the world, I had all these fake friends. I'm broke. I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do? And the craziest part about the story is the daycare thing, whatever, the Hummer got repoed right after that. The Hummer got repoed, and and I understand why she saw me as a superhero during that point. There's a story that I tell about that moment in time. I had sold everything in my apartment for drugs and to try to pay the rent. And then I remember we had nothing to do. Everything, the only thing we had is her room, stuff in her room. And we'd sit on, played a little hockey, and the thing in the living room was empty. And we were sitting on next to each other, and she was sitting next to me, a little 3-year-old girl, little pigtails, so cute. Hopefully she comes by today. I would like for her to meet you guys. And she was sitting there, and she said to me, and mind you, we were doing pretty well in this business. We were traveling all over before I really messed my life up. And she looks up, and she's like, I like you better now, Dad. And I was like, and we were going, all we could do is go to the park every day. We'd go to the dollar store and grab some food. That's all we were doing. I had nothing. I couldn't take her anywhere. I couldn't take her to Chuck E. Cheese. I had zero money. I couldn't pay the rent. We'd go to the park every single day. And I would just sit there and try to figure shit out. And she's like, look at me. And oh, yeah. And I was like, I'm trying to figure life out. I'm like, holy shit, what am I going to do? And I call it purposely homeless. I want to be very careful when I say this, because I don't want to be like, make my story that I was a homeless. I call it purposely homeless because I had places to go. My parents have always been there for me. I was homeless. I got evicted from our apartment. We slept. And this is, I don't know if you guys have heard this story, but this is how I became a warrior. This is the moment in time that I became a warrior. So we were in the H2 Hummer. We're sitting at Climbing Park right by my parents' house, and I would always go to the park there to stay the night because I was like, it just felt safe. I don't know, I was right by my parents' house. That's where I grew up, that's where I played as a kid, so I took her there, and my mom's amazing. She always helps me with my daughter, so we're sitting there, and so I didn't want my daughter to be taken from me, so I had her on Friday nights at this point. I was a mess, so she'd give her to me on Friday nights. And so we got evicted from the apartment, and so we pulled into the park, and I'm like, okay, let's just play all day, wear her out, and she was sleeping in the back. And she thought it was cool. We're like camping. She thought it was the coolest thing ever. I'm sitting there and I'm just staying up. I stay up all night. I'm just sitting there and I'm like, oh my God, this is what? And then all of a sudden I'm a Hummer sitting in a park by itself in the middle of the night. A cop pulls up behind me. I'm like, it's fucking over. The whole thing is over. The game's over. I'm gonna get CPS called to me right now. My daughter's gonna get taken away. And he kind of comes up and he walks around and he comes and you hear the radio on the thing. He's like, and then he turns around, gets in his car, turns on the lights and takes off. I'm like, holy fuck. I'm like, I get out of the car and the H2 Hummer's like these big mirrors on the side of when I walk. I'm like, get your fucking shit together. You're fucking grow up. And I kept walking in circles. I'm like, fucking grow up. I'm like, grow up. Grow up. I'm like, fucking grow up. I'm like, be a man. Fucking grow up. And I kept saying it to myself. Got in my car, went to my parents' house. I'm like, I'm fucking broke. I need help. These people are like, come on in. Come on in. Come on in. No fucking judgment, nothing. Come on in. They're like, get my daughter, my mom's shaking, get my daughter. I'm like, she knew I was fucked up. She's like, I think they were relieved. They're like, oh shit, finally. I come in, and I'm sitting there, and my dad's like, what the fuck? My mom's like, shut up. She's like, shut up. She stood up, she's like, shut up. She's like, you go to bed. He's like, and he went to bed, smart man, and she sat there, she's like, I don't know what's going on, babe. She's like, we're here for you, and that was it. And from that point on, I just started working my fuck. I said, Mom, I swear to God, I'll make this up to you. She knew I stole money from her, she knew all that. She knew, it's like, but as a parent, the best thing you do for your kid is let them fall, man. She let me fucking hit the ground hard. She was like, she cut me off. She's like, you're done. You're done. Like, that's what made me rise. She was like, you're done. She stopped enabling me. She was like, grow up and be a fucking man. She's like, I'm not letting you ruin my life anymore. She's like, this is your thing. You take care of your daughter. You figure this out. And that's hard to do as a parent. You know, that's got to be hard to do. And that moment on, I just started. This is how this whole book was created. That's how it started. I just got up every day, and I look at my daughter, and I'm like, I gotta go harder. I gotta go harder. I know I have purpose. I know I'm here for a reason. And she talked about the I am affirmation. I'm like, I am beautiful. I am powerful. I am love. I am beautiful. I'm powerful. I am love. Now, let me walk you guys through the story because it's important. This is why we're here. So I was sitting there, and I'm trying to rehab. I was a mess. I'd already rehabbed myself in my apartment. I'm trying to stay away from the drugs. I mean, it grabs on you when you're a drug addict. So all you can think about is like, I'm like, just think about it. So what I decided, I'm like, okay, as dedicated as I was to finding opiates, I need to become as dedicated as that to self-development. And so that's how I switched it. I was like, okay, I'm gonna become obsessed like a drug addict with self-development. So I'd wake up every day and I would seek, like a crackhead, I would seek development. So I started with, I think it was The Secret. I had already read The Secret. And I'm starting to get my shit together. And then I found Tony Robbins and Les Brown. Love Les Brown. And I remember I just leave the stories, I was like, I'm hungry. He was walking out, and I'm like, I'm hungry, man. I'm hungry. And so I got this job at this law firm. Like you're selling, it was like a call center. The call center is not the best environment for a drug addict. If anybody's ever worked at a call center before, it's a very low vibration. And these guys were all, and I get dropped right back into the den again. I'm like, fuck. Guys are snorting cocaine in the bathroom, coming doing these big sales, advertisement sales. It wasn't a law firm, it was selling advertisement. Did boiler room. And I'm like, God, why am I in this position again? I'm like, holy shit. And it was a resistance point for me, so I sat in there. The guys like, we went out one night and they took ecstasy and they handed me a pill and I'm like, fuck you guys, man. I'm like, I'm out. I'm like, I left, quit that job, and I'm like, what am I gonna, why? And then at that point, I'm like, this is done, man. Like, this isn't gonna work. Like, you know, God's put me in this position again where I'm with drug addicts. Like, this is really weird. And then the guy who saved my life calls me up and he's like, hey, you want to interview to be a banker? And I'm like, a banker? And I was a bodybuilder before, and I was like, I have dyslexia, so I can do math. And I was like, I tried to get into pharmacy school way back, and I couldn't pass anything organic chem, any of that stuff. And I'm like, I was like, I'll go to the interview. I said, I'll clean the place. I don't care. So I still had the suit. I went to Goodwill. I don't remember if it was 25 cents. It was under $1. I bought the suit for $1. And they had special, and so I wore the suit and I went there. And this is the power behind why I said you're not gonna remember a lot of this, but you're gonna remember your feeling. So I sat with this lady and I was so excited to be there. And I remember I was sitting there and I'm like, oh God, I'm like, thank you. I'm so grateful to be here today. She's like, oh, thank you. And I'm like, I just, you know, what can I, she's like, would you have any baking experience? I'm like, well, I'm a former bodybuilder.